Hey everybody, it's Dr. Jonathan live from Althea. Woo! I'm in the privacy of my own office. I've been experimenting with different masks. Wow, I just realized, when was it we were talking about masks? And I wore this. I thought it was kind of funny at the time, but I guess it's not that funny anymore. Well, this is my office in the Althea Center. It's actually super messy. I haven't been in here in like 5 months, but you can see a few things there. I got that in Dar es Salaam, India. I got this real cool thing. Actually, it's Mayan. It's not Native American. I got that in a jungle there. And there's all kinds of cool stuff all over the place from all kinds of interesting places. And we just finished doing our first live in-person Sunday gathering. And I think I'm going to take my jacket off because it's like 1,000 degrees in this room. But if you can hear me okay, Stephanie, Fred, just let me know. Susan is wrapping up from the service that we just did, and we are, we're now here and ready for you. Susan might take a minute to get there. Gosh, I'm looking to see how I can dress this up for you. Look, a little planty, nice shell. There you go. That's a little better, right? So thank you, Jan. Thank you, Stephanie, for letting me know you can hear. Thank you, Katie. And suddenly we had a connection problem. So our topic today is trust, and we're going deeper into the theme that we talked about last week. So last week we also talked about trust, and we were talking about the different layers of who we are as people and how those different layers have different relationships to trust. And that when we confuse those layers, that more than anything is it results in our trust issues or the struggles that we might have with trust. So before we get into it, let me take a little moment to do some announcements. First of all, yes, as always, we welcome donations online. Susan will be showing up a little later to give you the donation link. I was so deliriously happy to be with all of our 40 community members in the building that I totally forgot to ask for any kind of a collection. So I'll hear about that later, but it's not too late for you. Also, we have Sue Hunt's fantastic class in healing meditation coming up. I think there might be a few seats left, and I think today's the last day to register. So please check that out soon. You can always, hey, Keenan's there. What up, Keenan? Thomas is there. Wow, it's really cool, actually. Today I'm a little closer to the messages, so I'm really happy to see all of you. Anyway, you want to sign up for Sue Hunt's workshop, and you just go to the Althea website. Another important announcement is that next week is online only, and I will be joined live from South Africa by the Amabhavani a cappella group. These guys are insanely talented. I've known them for like a long time. I think I met them 18 years ago. And just an incredible story of a group of young men trying to better their lives through music and trying to better the world through their messages and their songs. So please be here. Please be here next week. It's going to be very cool. Same time, 10:30. The other thing is that if everything went well today, and we're going to review that after after the fact, then we're probably going to move to doing regular 9:30 gatherings on Sunday, and they will be about 45 minutes long. And then we will continue to have, indefinitely for now, online live services. Now, to make the online experience more exciting, I am going to be inviting some special guests every other Sunday to join me throughout September and into October. So Jean Thinelk, many of you know and love, my teacher, father, mentor from South Dakota. He will be back. Many of you that have taken classes with me have heard me talk about a genius business consultant, Mark Samuel, who also happens to be a master of energy and intuition. He will join us. A very influential traditional Shona Sangoma, or shaman, I guess you would say in English, Mandaza Kandemwa, will be joining us live from Zimbabwe. We're going to do some cool stuff. So I know that some of you are starting to get used to watch these later and not live, but we're going to spice it up. We're going to keep it meaningful and powerful and fun. And so hopefully you'll stay tuned each week. Now let's see, I'm going to be looking down to see what people hear. Someone just came in, I guess maybe a little bit late. Will the in-person services always be indoors going forward? So the answer to that is we just did an in-person service, like I literally just left there and came in here to do this. We don't know. The plan right now is that if all the feedback from today goes well, then yes, we will do a 45-minute service weekly in person in the building. That's the current plan, but next week is online only. Now, if you're worried about being indoors, just very briefly, and then we're going to get into our message, or our time, our purpose here. We're very fortunate because we have basically a 3-story high sanctuary. So there's a huge volume of air, 500 seats, and only 40 people, a maximum of 50 people in the building, 40 people seated. There was a huge amount of room between people today. We also have basically a fancy type of swamp cooler that's pulling fresh air into the room constantly. So with fans pulling air out of the room, we have a very high rate of air exchange. And then, of course, everyone wore masks. I, as the speaker, am allowed to take my mask off, but literally everyone else had masks and was very respectful and kept their distance. So we think we've got a good thing here, but stay tuned. All right, I think we are ready to dive in. Gosh, we had Stephen Fordham today. That was really awesome to have him join us. I miss the music, I do. But we have poetry, we have prayer, we have meditation, we have each other. So why don't we dive in? I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. Take a deep breath and then a long exhale. With your eyes closed, sitting comfortably but alert, breathing deeply in, holding your breath for a moment, maybe noticing where you're feeling tension or tightness, and then breathe it out. And as you slow down and settle down, draw your attention to the expanding feeling of stillness and silence. For this short time, just pay attention to the space behind and between things. With each breath, feel your body soften. Feel your mind open. Feel your heart open. And if you can glimpse this quiet place, if you can glimpse this stillness and silence, then you can remember the place in yourself where you are more than what you have, more than what you do, more than what people see or think of you, when we connect with the stillness and the silence, especially when our eyes are closed, we connect with the place where we are always together. We connect in the place that is beyond time, beyond space, where we are truly as one in the spirit that is life, that is love, that is the mystery that we come from. So take your time, feel that sense of calm. Just feel the peace. And feel your commitment to your spiritual journey. Feel your commitment to healing and wholeness in your life and the world. Feel your trust in spirit and the ultimate nature of things, though we may not see it often enough. And so from this place, I'd like to read a poem by Rick Fields. And to me, this is very much about trust. It's about trusting that if you participate in the nature of creation wholeheartedly, without judgment, control, expectation, with the simple faith in the energy, the momentum, the beauty, the love, and the wisdom of life, that it will unfold with beauty and love and wisdom, and that good things are coming, and that change for healing and wholeness is inevitable. The Buddha got enlightened under a tree, saw the morning star, and touched the earth as witness. In the next millennium, which is now, all of us will recognize that we too are Buddhas, and will plant more trees deep in the earth under which more Buddhas will sit. And they will plant more trees under which forever and ever and more. So, the lesson in this poem speaks very much to our message today. It's a question of what we're putting our trust in, how we think of trust, and the way our confusion, or what I would call misconceptions about trust, have caused us to lose the feeling of faith and security and safety in this life and in this world. I'm going to adjust this a second here. Now, our dear Susan is online with us again. If you have questions about classes coming up, she'll post a link there. If you want to make donations, she'll post a link there. But I would like to tell you, guess what? A story. See, I'm sitting here at my desk. I feel like I should be checking for bills and reading the mail. Yes, a great story about trust, and a surprising one. A long time ago, you know where I'm going with this, right? And far, far away, there was a sultan, a great king of the Middle East, an emperor, you might say, wealthy beyond imagination, powerful beyond imagination, with vast lands and vast wealth, and yet there was something special, something amazing about this sultan, for he was fair and he was kind. He was the kind of ruler that when he took over or raided another nation, in a year, their lives would be better and they would be grateful. It's hard to imagine. But this was the story of a truly unique ruler. Benevolent, decisive, wise. And there came a time in his rule where the world was at peace. His world was at peace. His land was at peace, and he felt it was time that he could explore and enjoy, go on vacation, go to the spa, things like that. And one day, while he was traveling in a distant land, he was in a market, and he came upon a station where a man was selling exotic animals. And there was the most intriguing, captivating, beautiful, intelligent-looking little monkey that he could ever have imagined in his life. And he thought about himself, his uniqueness, the grandeur of his legacy, and he thought, I think I need me a monkey. And sure enough, he brought the monkey home. The monkey was fed well and grew to a nice monkey size and was trained. Oh, they trained this monkey. He could, make breakfast and tie his shoes and, answer basic math problems. You get the idea. The monkey had a little costume, a little uniform, and the monkey and the Sultan kind of fell in love. I mean, not romantic, nothing weird, but they were like best friends. The monkey went everywhere, the Sultan did. The Sultan even had a little bed for the monkey in his bedroom. One day, the Sultan thought, this monkey is as close to me as my family. This monkey is my best friend. This monkey is truly a member of the royal court. And so he had the tailors make for the monkey a special little uniform, a little costume, a sultan's costume with flowing robes and a tiny turban and a sharp, beautiful gilded saber. The sword that they wear on the hip. And from that point on, the monkey went everywhere the Sultan went. One day, another day, a different day, it was spring, and the Sultan was in one of his beautiful orchards with his family and his monkey, smelling the fragrant blossoms, watching for the first signs of fruit. And the Sultan was enchanted. He couldn't remember a more beautiful day, looking up at the flowers and the blue sky behind the blossoms, the fragrance everywhere, intoxicating. And he thought he would like some time just to savor the beauty of this place, somehow a sign of his great accomplishments in life. So he excused his family, asked them to leave him in peace. But of course, he kept the monkey. He sat down beneath a tree. He leaned back. He breathed in deeply. He felt the ground beneath his feet. He felt the grass, the rich, lush grass in his hands. And he felt ease and calm coming over him. And so he told his dearest little friend, the monkey, "Please, little one, won't you look after me? I'm sleepy, and I need to just bathe in the beauty of this moment. Will you be on guard? Will you watch for hazards or dangers? You'll be my little protector, right?" Well, sure enough, the monkey understood every word, as always, and was delighted to be of service to his most beloved master. The Sultan fell asleep, and the monkey waited. He was on duty, on guard, watching. Was anyone coming? What was that sound? Was that a bird? Was that an enemy? Nothing but the humming of insects, the songs of birds, the buzzing of a bee, and then all of a sudden, a bee was coming in their face. All of a sudden, a bee was landing on the face of the Sultan, and the monkey was shooing it away, trying to blow it, fan it. This bee would circle around and come back, crawling across the forehead. The monkey shoot it away again. Then coming back, landing on his nose, the monkey shooing it away again. The bee was now darting back and forth angrily. The monkey now getting angry. Get away, get away. The monkey would do anything to protect his master. And the bee kept circling and diving, landing on the Sultan's face, the monkey fanning it away. And then the bee came charging, flying straight at the monkey. The monkey pulled out his saber and was slashing at the air, trying to get that bee, until the bee landed on the neck of the Sultan. And the monkey, in his rage, in his dedication, took his saber and slashed at the bee and killed the Sultan. And that is the end of the story. Now I know, this is kind of a bummer. This doesn't sound like an Althea story. Wonderful king, harmony, peace, all that good stuff. Family man, orchard, couldn't get better. Best friend kills him over a bee by accident. Now, the interesting thing about this story and so many of the old folk tales is that most of the old parables, not all of them, but so many of the old folk tales and parables are really about caution when it comes to trust. Be careful who you trust. Don't be a fool with your trust, and so on, right? Give a monkey a sword. You get the idea. But I think there might be another way of looking at this story. Maybe it's not a story about regret. Yes, it ends in tragedy, and you should be shocked, and it's okay to be disturbed. But does it mean it was all a mistake? Does it mean the Sultan was a fool to trust a monkey? Does it mean the monkey wasn't trained well enough, or the monkey was a fool for making such a mistake? Or does it mean that when we live fully, imperfection is inevitable? It's a strange analogy, but I remember when I used to work with the rich and famous. It was a part of my life for a while. And there were so many people I met who were millionaires, and even I met a couple of billionaires. Great stories of accomplishment, great stories of opportunity. A lot of them really wonderful people. And yet, every one of them, just like you, stories of hardship. Sometimes just what you would expect, childhood, addiction. Oftentimes hardship because of their success, betrayals, or stresses because of how much money they had to manage. Oh, if I had a dime for every time I had to hear someone complain about how the $200,000 home renovation turned into a $300,000 home renovation. My goodness, such problems people have. But what's my point? My point is that a lot of us have struggled with the challenges, the changes, the disappointments, and the hardships of the last 5 months. Maybe in your city, maybe in your county, maybe in your country, maybe looking at other countries. And one of the things that makes the events of the last 5 months is so difficult is not just how unique and unexpected they were. It's not just how far-reaching and impactful they were. It's just how much we all idealize this place that we think we're going to get to in life, where we're going to have enough, be enough, do enough, and then it's all going to be smooth. It's all going to be easy. It's all going to get better and better and better. There's no real story like that. The truth is, life is a journey. rich or poor, famous or obscure. We all have strengths and triumphs and joys. We all have struggles and sorrows and pains. You know, it's a difficult thing, but the way I travel home from Althea to where I live out of town, I travel down 2 roads where there are typically a lot of homeless camps set up. And so there's a lot of tents and trash and tragic, painful scenes to witness. And I do my best not to, look away or turn up the radio or pretend I don't see it. There it is. And so I see it. I try to keep my heart open, my mind open. And the truth is that even though I do see strange things and disturbing things, I also see inspiring things and incredible things. I always see people helping each other. I always see people laughing and joking. I've seen people singing together. The point is that our relationship to life is distinct from the present moment conditions. You see, there's what we're going through, and then there's how we go through it. And trust is at the heart of that. You see, if we take this story and the tragic ending, we might say that actually, rather than a sad story, it's a wonderful story, a wonderful depiction of life, that all we can do is our best, that all we can do is celebrate and savor each moment, that we cultivate unlikely and wonderful relationships and honor them and serve them and pursue them, and when they go bad, when they go wrong, when they go off the rails, it's no surprise. It's no surprise. If you've ever loved anyone and given them your absolute trust, then you know it's almost an impossibility that anyone could be in relationship with you long enough and never, ever make a mistake, hurt your feelings, betray your confidence, because we are perfectly imperfect. And our imperfections invite us to see beyond the painful choices of consciousness that we feed: attachment, control, judgment, and instead invite us to a deeper look, a deeper story about what trust really is. When your idea of trust is rooted in the conditional world, right, the part of yourself that's reactive and superficial and formed by life's conditions, then trust brings suffering. But when you learn to move into a deeper trust, and you trust because it's your nature, you trust because your soul is trusting, you trust because you can connect and reconnect with the essence of our origin, the universal spirit, then you realize that trust is a gift. Not one that you give others, but one that you give yourself. In anything where you have trust, you have more peace. Trust is not something you give to get something. Trust is not a gift you give others. Trust is for yourself. For trust is ultimately an illusion. There is no such thing as a trust that I can... Looking for something interesting here. There's no such thing as a trust that I can give you. The only thing I can do is be trusting. Now think about that. Trust is not an inanimate object that I can pass you, that you can take from me, that I can run out of. The experience of this thing we're calling trust is in fact merely the words we use to describe the bond, the feeling that comes when I am trusting. And so being trusting, we're always talking about who's trustworthy. Forget that. No one's trustworthy. Everyone's trustworthy. The only thing that matters is, can you access the gift of trusting as a divine expression of self? When we think about the layers of who we are, and we do this a lot, I talk about sort of 3 layers of being, and many of you have seen this or heard this before. You know that I always say that in every one of us we have these 3 dimensions, these 3 layers. The innermost is where we are one with spirit or God or the universe, whatever you call it. The next layer is this layer of the soul or the true self. That is your individualized expression of the one source. And then the third is the earthbound, particular to this life, conditional self. Job title, reaction to trauma, reaction to culture, the way you've been formed. And some of your conditional self reflects your authentic self, and some of it doesn't. But the reason why I bring this up is because there's really 3 types of trust, aren't there? What we have is an understanding now that trust from the center is not the same as trust from the conditional self. And when we mix up our layers, our identities, who we are, how we're looking at things, and how we're trusting, it all becomes a mess. So let's look at this very carefully. The conditional self, the kind of trust that it's looking for, is accountability. The kind of trust that the conditional self requires is accountability. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. That means that it's built on agreements. I'm going to do this, you're going to do that. If I don't do this, you can do that. It's all mapped out. It's material. It's repeatable. It's behavioral. It's, you get the idea, contractual. But the problem is, if you take that consciousness and you move it into a soul relationship, well, it has value and it has limit. When we expect our children, our spouses, our neighbors, our partners to behave like someone who we are in a contractual relationship with at work, it doesn't really work out. Now, it doesn't mean you can't integrate the conditional into the soulful. You can. But it means that you hold it with the consciousness of the soulful, not the conditional. In other words, the soulful self can make use of agreements and boundaries and accountability to serve its authenticity and its impulse, its expression. But it holds it with a different consciousness than the conditional, right? So what that means is that we have to recognize that the soul seeks devotion in trust. The soul seeks devotion, and what that means is the soul longs for a kind of enmeshment, intimacy, reintegration. That my world will be your world, and your world will be my world. And that is an essential binding power in the universe. The longing for union, for deep trust with another, deep trust with a community, deep trust with a family, a pet like the monkey, deep trust with a lover. But again, we can move our consciousness and identity deeper as we start to realize that the conditional tool that is accountability can serve the passionate energy of devotion. But we can't stop there, or we're doomed. Because if all we have is an interplay of accountability and passion, well then we're just broken and wounded or enraged when people don't do what we think they should do, when the world doesn't go the way we think it should go. And yet, we need the conditional consciousness as a tool to create agreements and clarity. We need the soulful energy of the authentic self to bring power and passion to life, to find and feel our longings, to know what we're drawn towards. But it must stay rooted in the universal self. In the universal self, trust is surrender. Trust is acceptance. It's faith. When we are rooted in a moment of universal self, the word trust doesn't even make sense. Because everything is as it is, whether we trust it or not. And whether other people betray us or agree with us or always do nice things for us, it's not really an issue of trustworthiness. It's not really an issue of betrayal. At the deepest level, what we know is that when those failings occur, it's just life working itself out. And can that be hard? Absolutely. It can be painful. Absolutely. I have experienced all kinds of betrayals in my life. Financial betrayals, business betrayals, betrayals in relationship, loss of loved ones at a young age. All kinds of things that shouldn't have happened or that people told me wouldn't happen, happened. Was it difficult on a conditional level? Super difficult. Insanely difficult. In fact, some of the things that have been broken or taken or cheated from me, couldn't even imagine I could find my way out of again. Was it heartbreaking on an emotional level, on a soulful level? Well, generally. But what soothed my heart as I moved through those painful and unexpected betrayals or breaking of trust in my life was the fact that my world, my identity, is generally rooted in spirit. And so when something or someone doesn't go my way, I know that that is spirit not going my way. That is spirit evolving through them as the soul that they are, struggling for the lessons that only they can struggle with in only the way they can, and bringing lessons to life and me in the only way they can. You see, when spirit is the center, then issues of broken accountability or betrayal of devotion, they're painful, they're important, but they don't define us. They don't shape our world. They don't shape our story of life. They don't shape our ultimate feeling of who and what we are. We can rise again every day with hope, dignity, faith, and belief that life is happening through us. When you think about trust and these three layers of who we are, In the conditional realm, we feel like life is happening to us. You know, it's them against me. The monkey made a mistake. The sultan made a mistake. The family shouldn't have left them. They made a mistake. It's all about right and wrong and control and power and influence and judgment and attachment. When we move our identity or how we look at a situation to the soul level or the true self level, the essential level, then we experience life as happening for me. And what that means is I know that as difficult or shitty as this situation is, I can learn from it. I can grow from it. I will glow from it. That there is no such thing as a situation that cannot bring me closer to spirit or a truer, fuller understanding of who and what I am. Here, on the outside, life happens to me, but when I'm rooted in the soul, I know that life is happening for me, all betrayals, all losses. And we look at the sultan and the monkey and we think, well, the only way they could have experienced the depth of love and connection that they did was by trusting and taking risks. And so it brought them incredible reward and ultimately tragic loss. But when we move our identity here to the center, to the soul of spirit, to the spirit of the soul, to the universal self, we realize that life is not happening to us. It's actually not happening for us. It's happening through us. Through us. And in that way, there is nothing to trust or not trust, only to sense, feel, intuit, and follow. Life becomes a journey, an adventure, and there will be high times and there will be low times, and there will be great rewards and there will be great struggles. And all of those highs and lows are available in every moment, even in the middle of the greatest successes and even in the middle of the greatest failures. There can be dancing on the streets and sorrow in the mansions and vice versa. The opportunity we have today is to move what we are in relationship to trust about to a deeper level. That spirit is at the center, and the only relationship of trust we need is between ourselves and spirit. Can we trust that life is as it's always been, that it will unfold as it always did, and that the deep spiritual laws remain true? And as far as I know, it is so. That when we place our hearts and minds in first relationship to spirit, then all the other smaller forms of trust, accountability, devotion, and so on, they take a different place. They take a different quality. And we live with more resilience, more gratitude, and more patience with the inevitability of imperfection. And we look at the story of the monkey and the sultan, and we say, yes, it's a tragic ending, but just a short moment in a beautiful story, in a wonderful journey, in a beautiful relationship, and all those powerful qualities, those healing qualities, remain true, even though it went in a way we never expected. But this too is life fulfilling itself. So hopefully this is useful for you today, that this isn't just inspiring or interesting or a nice distraction for a Sunday morning or whenever you watch this, But hopefully this helps you to see that life is really not about outcomes. It's about relationships. And in that, we have a choice how we show up and how we see things, what we are looking through. Do we see life as happening to us? And so it's victim and champion, winner and loser again and again and again. Do we see life as being in search of devotion, deep connection and intimacy? Life is happening for us so we can learn and grow. Or do we honor those two levels but stay rooted in something deeper still that understands that nothing is outside the system of spirit? Nothing is outside the laws of life. And so all we can do is stay centered in that first relationship. Find our way with passion, with intuition, and then create the agreements and the boundaries and the contracts that we need, and let it all go as it falls apart again and again and again. Ultimately, trust is a gift you give yourself. Where you have trust, you have peace. So, I think we're going to stop there. I think that's enough to think about. And I encourage you, if you're really struggling to make this fit for you, think about any situation in your life where you have a struggle and ask yourself, even take out a piece of paper and write a list. How many forms of mistrust are embedded in that struggle? I don't trust I'll be looked after. I don't trust this will change. I don't trust what people tell me, and so on and so forth. And then think about the most rewarding, beautiful, wonderful relationships or situations, and notice where trust is rooted there. We are all blessed to be a part of a living energy universe where we, if we choose, if we can stay centered, find peace and slow down, where we can always love and learn and let go, and love and learn and let go again. It's a process. All the types of trust, accountability, devotion, and surrender, they're all necessary. But hold them in right relationship and keep the dance fluid and with spirit in your heart. So thank you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being at the Althea Center. I'm kind of tempted. I don't think anyone's around. So as a grand finale, I'm going to sneak out of my office. Actually, Susan is here. Susan, text me to the message if the sanctuary is empty. And if it is, I'm going to go in there with you. Although the door might be locked now that I think about it. Anyway, I'm going to walk around in a second, but I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for your gifts and donations. The donations you make literally keep Althea running. We are a strong community. We are a growing community, but we're a community. We don't have some big business paying our bills. It's us together. Through our donations and contributions, we keep this beautiful building open. We serve the community, and we create a harbor for peace and this message of oneness. Don't forget to keep checking online, Facebook, newsletter, website, upcoming classes, special Sundays. Next Sunday is online live only with the amazing live a cappella group in South Africa, from South Africa. I'm going to talk to you about the story of these amazing young men. 18 years I've known them, and they're going to perform for you and perform a new song about unity. So I hope you'll be there for that. Don't forget Sue's meditation class coming up. And before we close, let's see if I can walk out this door without... I heard someone. Oh! Look where we are, everybody. Da, da, da. Yeah, you can text if you think this is cool. We love you. We are grateful for you. And here's your special place, your happy place from home. You can see it okay? Well, on that note, I'm not going to have you close your eyes. I'm going to let you just appreciate the beauty of what it means to have a life centered in spirit and the kind of peace and faith that can bring to you. Don't let it be a week. Return to that place every day as often as you can. With lots of love from Althea, goodbye, and we'll see you soon.